Hello Sweetisms! Tribbie's E1 is one of the strongest Eidolons in Star Rail. Why is it so powerful and is it really worth the investment? In this video, I will go over how it works as well as my polling recommendations. As usual, footage in the video comes from the content creator server and there might be changes on release. Here's how the E1 works. When Tribbie's ultimate zone is active, and it's up most of the time, any attack from your allies deals an extra 24% true damage. This extra damage goes to the target with the most HP, and it's also based on the total damage of the attack. Against a single target, it's just a 24% damage increase, but against two targets, it's 48% extra damage to the main target. With 5 targets, you're dealing a whopping 120% extra damage to the main target. Keep in mind, the overall damage increase is still 24%, but it focuses the extra damage, which is actually quite strong. Star Rail's current enemy lineup often features 1 or 2 bosses with additional lower HP enemies. Usually, you never struggle in killing the lower HP enemies, and often overkill them with AoE burst attacks. This is where Tribbie's E1 really shines. The extra damage only hits the main target, but it's 24% of the total damage of the attack. With 5 enemies, Tribbie's E1 can actually deal more damage than your DPS to the main target. There's one other scenario where it can be incredibly powerful, when the main boss has damage reduction built in, but the surrounding enemies don't. Imagine a boss with 99% damage reduction and 4 other targets. In this, albeit extreme case, Tribbie's E1 can boost your damage to the boss by 9,600%. Although to a lesser degree, you can already benefit from this in the current Apocalyptic Shadow and Pure Fiction, where the bosses are often damage reductioned while the ads are alive. As a comparison, Robin's E1 is only ever a 24% damage increase. So, is Tribbie's E1 just another example of HSR's power creep? Of course! I mean, not exactly. There are 3 big caveats to Tribbie's seemingly insane E1, which are important to understand. First, your DPS needs to deal AoE damage to get the full benefit. With blast type damage, the main target already takes extra damage, so the boost from Tribbie's E1 is less significant. And with single target characters like Facial, you only ever get the base 24% increase. Second, there needs to be additional targets. If you're only facing 1 boss or 2 elites, then Tribbie's E1 is essentially the same as Robin's E1. Lastly, because Tribbie redirects the extra damage onto the main target, in cases where you might want to kill the ads first, Tribbie's strength will also become her weakness. For instance, if you need to kill the ads to survive, or if the boss is simply immune to damage while other targets are alive. In these cases, Tribbie's E1 would be worse than Robin's E1, since she doesn't help you kill the ads. Personally, I think all of these downsides are good for the game, since it makes it so E1 Tribbie doesn't just completely power creep every other E1 support. In its current form, the E1 gives a huge buff to AoE teams, which previously struggled with overkilling ads and focusing damage onto a single target. However, the strength is environment dependent and relies on multi-enemy lineups. In terms of polling recommendations, if you're new to Star Rail or a returning player with a limited support roster, Tribbie is a fantastic all-around choice. She'll be a strong addition to most teams since her buffs are universal. Also, unlike Robin and Remembrance MC, she's excellent in auto battles. If you're low on pulls, you can also get her at E0 and consider her E1 on a rerun. For those that already have a lot of supports, like Rame, Robin, or Sunday, you can't go wrong either way. I personally don't think she's a high priority pull in this case unless you're going for the E1, since while Tribbie is an upgrade to Remembrance MC, it's not a significant one. E1 Tribbie, however, is a different story, and I do recommend it highly if you play AoE teams and have the pulls. If you can only afford E0, or if you're simply not that excited about Tribbie, I think it's also perfectly fine to skip her altogether and save for characters you're more passionate about. For example, if you're really excited about Castorus, then making sure you have enough to pull her first will be a better investment on your account. In terms of her Lightcones, Tribbie's signature is quite good, but her E1 is a much higher priority. The signature gives her 100% uptime on her ultimate and boosts Tribbie's own damage by around 20%. However, Tribbie has decent free-to-play options such as DDD, Meshing Cogs, and Memories of the Past. I'd only consider her signature after getting her E1 and only if you have pulls to spare. It's definitely nice to have, but not necessary. I think that's it for now. This is a quicker video this time. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and see you on stream or in my next video. Good luck on your Tribbie pulls!